So nobody don't know anybody else?
Hi.
Hi.
Your face.
So this is Miriam.
Hi, Miriam.
Hi. And our library after.
Eric Phillips.
Hello, Eric. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
This is Mandy, who's our librarian.
I met Mandy before.
Right. So Mandy can do the tour upstairs.
Oh, wonderful. We're gonna have to do some acrobats to get around.
I expected.
Okay. This is Sophia saying.
Hello, nice to meet you. Hi.
Member of the Guyana Foundation.
Oh, nice to meet you. Very nice.
I told them that the famous Bollywood actress is here. So I was expecting more people to come out.
Hello.
Probably what we can do, we could probably, before we go upstairs, have Sophia share with you guys.
But it would be these guys.
There's Esther. We'll wait until Esther comes back.
Okay. Did you want us to bring in the gift?
Yeah.
This is India. Very far to this world. Oh, here's another. Hello, good afternoon. And we just break our palm.
I was wondering if maybe one of you could just give me a background on this project, and then we could give you a background on the project that we are heading.
So I think a good place to start would be to tell them a little bit about how we started. Anita, why don't sit down here?
Yeah.
And actually, maybe I should introduce everybody first.
Yeah.
So we have Miriam. Would you like to be in this meeting? That would be great. Okay. So it started. This is a good trail because Sir Mohan is one of Guyana's premier teachers. You know, sometimes they give away $1 million for the best teachers. He's now retired, but he's one of the best teachers in Guyana. And he taught at the secondary school here, but he also started an organization called the Nirvana Humanitarian Society. And I was working on a CEDA-funded project, and we were providing support to Nirvana. And we were doing a strategic plan with them, and they kept talking about what the community needs, what the community needs. So I asked them to come and show me how they know what the community needs. So they brought me here, and I passed Anita's house. This is like 9 years ago. And I passed Anita's house. I actually thought it was a chicken pen. And I couldn't believe somebody was living in it. Eventually we rebuilt her house, and then I feel I was always coming up here and helping out her kids to go to school and whatnot. But then I realized that they were almost illiterate, like, practically, yeah. So then I started teaching the two of them, Badish and Susie. We should get them to come and read now. That's about 3 years ago. So we started in Anita's house, and we used to take them for picnics on the back dam and cook food and go out and teach them to read and think, hi Spider. And then, yeah, and we started with 2 children. By the end of the year, we had about 50 kids come in. So we basically, I wanted it, we had no intention of starting anything, and I wanted it very much to be, which is still my hope, something that's organic to the community, that comes from them, and that's not always very easy. A lot of the women here are illiterate, but they're brilliant and very good mothers, and you know, have a lot of dreams for themselves, like Pamela. So now we have this parent committee. Who's on the parent committee? Auntie Shirley.
That's you.
Anita.
Pamela. Who else?
Lisa, but Lisa's not here. Lisa, we have nobody but
Yeah. So anyway, so basically,
most of them in the morning, like, you know,
Yes.
now they're doing them.
And today is the day when they'll be doing their chores and so on, yeah.
so we have a parent committee, and for the last, I mean, gradually we've been moving from being like a little, I would come up here every Saturday to teach them to read. So we would bounce around from home to home, like we spent a long time there, and then if there was, if the kids kept getting larger and larger, the student population. So we also at that time started to do some trips out to Georgetown, educational tours to the schools, and we were essentially providing literacy classes free for the children after school. And then we, at one point, which we stopped now, which we hope to restart, which is a big issue up here, is to start back the literacy class for the parents, because the women in particular, like Melissa, is actually a Venezuelan who came back to Guyana, and who, like, I mean, has 3 kids, but she can't read and write herself. and Anita can to a certain extent, to Shirley can, but Pamela, this is Pamela's son, and her other two kids. And then her mom was also in the class, so it started intergenerational. I mean, the problem isn't really being stopped. So Miriam, a few years ago, through another friend of mine who's Canadian, had said, she had mentioned to people that I was her. So this is Anita's daughter, Sharia. So she gave us the first set of books, and I really wanted a library. Most of all, in fact, what I wanted to do was to set up like community-based libraries in some of these economically recessed communities. So we started the library, which is upstairs, and then we started the classes. We started the adult class that didn't work out, but we're doing like lots of different things. So we provide, if there are families who don't have and they have emergencies, we try to give small like grants for them to go to the hospital. Anything that creates like a stress on families financially and emotionally or whatever. And then, what else are we doing, man? I'm the only person in this group.
Painting with the kids.
Oh yeah. So this Miriam is kind of helping us to boost back up our homework program. And we have a teacher, which is the only paid position, Teacher Sharon, who's a real teacher. And she does classes 2 times a week. And then I'm hoping that you'll be able to see Sarah Mohan's great computer school. So they have some Guyanese living in Canada. They have how many computers now? 27. And we had 4 laptops, so we pooled it with theirs, and our kids go over like twice a week. And,
Where's that? How far?
Oh, it's a walk away. Actually, I wouldn't mind doing the walk because I want to see where the kids walk, because it's through the barren ground, right?
Yeah.
Backtrack. We got that.
We backtrack. Is Gayatri's mom?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm happy to see you. Which Gayatri? Second Gayatri.
Gayatri from Venezuela.
No, Melissa's from Venezuela. See? So these are Melissa's kids.
Okay.
Where's your son? Colin now?
Melissa has 3 kids.
No, but they're all different. And she's proud of that. She said, Auntie, I switch when you talk about my white son, my black son.
Debbie, how many people in this community here? You have
There's more than 300 households.
so over 300 households.
It's quite a large community.
Squatting here. It was a squatting, but
Yeah, it was a Meer-Zorg.
the other village is just 100 and something. This is very little, 250, probably approximately.
Yeah, 300. I had done the transact when I first came. Because we
It's
did,
twice
remember
the
when I
size
did in
of
your
the
house, we were naming the houses who live in
And
this
this is
house?
a reserve, still is, right?
Yeah, so and then eventually Auntie Shirley's daughter Judy used to live here with her husband and her son, and he was murdered last year. So they couldn't afford the $5,000 a month. So we took over the school and the house, and then the NDC came and said, oh, you have to fence it because you have so many small kids. So we fenced it, and a lot of that actually comes from the support that we've gotten from Scarborough Missions through Miriam Wheeler, who gave us the first book, and this is why we named the library after her. So for the last 2 weeks, she knows Guyana very well. She's been in Guyana for 6 years, and before she left, she's worked in Maruka and all that. And yeah, and she just came back and will be volunteering with us until May. To
As a librarian.
No, as the everything
Every
and
day, okay.
advisor in general.
The librarian. Are you going to leave after May? Are you leaving after May, or are you going to come?
Yeah, I'll be going back to Canada.
Or you're going back to Canada in May? Okay. I'm sad that you have to go. Right.
So I think that's it. Unless anybody else wants to. So should we talking about the school? Anything you want to say about the school? What's the nicest thing about down here? Yeah. Well, the nicest thing about the school is what? The trampoline.
The trampoline in the back.
Yeah.
So in this building where we're sitting at the moment, in this where we are right now, people from the community can bring their children here. They have facilities here for them to read, to do the artwork as I see there, and then upstairs is what?
Upstairs we have the library and we keep lessons there
So-
with a teacher, with a qualified
And the
teacher.
electricity comes from
We don't have electricity.
So the teacher comes
Twice a week.
twice a week.
So they have two after school classes, and then they have twice a week they have the computer class.
And all the classes are free just for the
Yeah,
community
yeah.
to come in, and then
Yeah,
she does
everything-
general lessons. in
Yeah,
English
everything that we do is free.
Okay,
I mean
good.
that started like what we had this issue, I mean this discussion a long time with Nirvana about whether you should charge people because of the sustainability factor. But in this community, people stay home if they don't have a pencil or a ruler or a slipper to go to school. So I never wanted it to be something that's right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean there's the whole poverty issue. And this is Mandy, Camo's daughter. I guess Camo's ambassador. Come, Ambassador Mandy. Yeah, so you can sit down here. Kelvin, Melvin. Hello.
And now that you've got your project to this level, where do you want to see it go next, and what is holding you back? How would you like to expand, or what are your most urgent requirements right now?
Well, I mean, for me, there are a few things that we want to do. And I guess because we're not so structured and we don't have rent, we can sort of bumble along and figure it out as we go along. But one of the things, I mean, I don't see these projects as being very sustainable in the sense that, like, I don't think we should compete with the government's right to provide education to children. But I do think that what we can do is stop, like, this generation, like Rayon, who doesn't know shapes properly, you know, like, yeah. So what I would like us to do is to improve the quality and actually measure, which is something I've been discussing a lot with Miriam, to measure where children are when they come into the center versus when they leave, and for us to be able to see their progress, because they got kids like Susie. Even now, 3 years on, I'm not too sure how much she knows. And the other issue is, for me, there's always been a strong link between poverty and education. So that's one of the reasons why, I mean, one of the things we started, wisely or not, was to try to do some sort of income generating activities for the women. Pamela has been a star. I told her, they got this Bollywood superstar, come and bring down your pepper and you're going to get some sales. But I mean, there's a big thing. I mean, money is always what keeps them from sending their children to school and stuff. So we want to do something for the women. And I think those are like some of the things we want to expand the libraries. I'd like us to actually have like you know those books that children need in school that they can't afford, and so you know like dictionaries and small things like that. I originally wanted to loan those to the families.
Have you got any? Can you get internet connectivity here?
True, ceremony.
You could get it here.
But that's
That's like 5 minutes away though, walk, or 10 minutes away.
You know.
You mean at this building?
Yes.
This
Here.
building?
Could you get it?
Yeah, won't you have electricity?
But we don't have electricity.
Okay.
We could. Actually, Stanley offered to pay for the electricity.
yeah, to get a meter in.
But what I'm looking at now also is a bit the building, because I want to try to see if we could put something that looks temporary, but Auntie Shirley had said we should have like maybe more of a bungalow, just something that screams children.
Yeah.
This looks a bit like a bar.
I plan to take it down and make one flat building. So we can build around it with the
With these blocks.
Yes, yes.
See, well, I mean, the thing is that with the, I'm hearing a lot of different things that you need, I'll sort of give you a little bit of an introduction to the Guyana Foundation, and then perhaps we could explore ways that we could, if possible, work together. The Guyana Foundation was started by myself, Eric Phillips, and Stanley Mings, and Nadia Sagar, a lawyer. And the reason we decided to form this foundation is because all of us have had a stint in politics over the years. We went into politics hoping that we could change the reality in Guyana and bring relief to the people. We kind of thought that we would be able to go down that road. As you all know, it's taken a long time to get ourselves out of the political deadlock that we're in. And in the interim, the casualties, these children, it gets worse and worse and worse, and the problem gets more and more chronic every single day. So the question we asked ourselves is, do we sit down like all the other professional politicians and fight the political fight, or do we begin to try to help in a non-political way, to reach out to the communities, to raise funds, to help in any way we can, and use the resources that we have to bring some relief and to work along with communities so that they can help themselves. Because we believe strongly that the time it will take for this country to sort itself out politically, a whole generation will be lost again. And I don't know that we can afford to lose these kids to just wasting away in poverty and neglect. So the first thing we did after we formally established this foundation as a trust here in Guyana is that we have connected with many foundations overseas who have a very strong interest to help humanity. They don't care which part you're with, they don't care. They just want to help people. Many of the people that we're working with have done tremendous work in Africa, all parts of Africa as well. And what we hope we would be able to do is to work along with international foundations, not only to give financial contribution, but also to do skills exchange. So if it is that you need a particularly skilled, a person who's particularly skilled, we can try to source that person to bring them to Guyana to help in whatever way. One of the foundations that we're working with, they distribute something called the Gift of Light, which is a solar powered kit.
Oh, right.
Brought today, and it basically what it does is it gives communities and people who have no light whatsoever the ability, the package lasts 12 years and you get a chance to get light basically, but it's been engineered, German engineering, very sophisticated, and I'll show you that a little bit later on when we finish our little discussion. But basically I brought one of the samples of it because it can light this entire building. We've got 1 light kit, 2 light kits, 3 light kits. And the if Eric would be so kind enough as to get it out of the box, I might be able to show you. But one of the foundations are giving us these items to distribute to people who need it. And basically what it is a very compact system where you have the panel that sits up on the roof and comes down to the charger. And this is the end result, the bulbs. Now you come with 1 bulb, 2 bulbs, 3 bulbs, okay? But basically this has 3 settings, and you can't see it now because it's so bright out here. But it has like bright, medium, and very low. And this thing here can be held by children, it doesn't get hot. They could take it home and bring it back and charge it at the school if it's here. You could give the bulbs to go home with, whatever. But it's changed a lot of lives in Africa where people have been able to get electricity, get light. So they have security, they can learn, they can study after school, and they have light. And if you were able to see this in a dark setting, it's very bright, very, very bright. So the idea is that the foundation will be bringing these light kits to Guyana and trying to distribute them to people who need it. We're going to, in phase 1, do work with youth empowerment and women's empowerment. We're hoping to be able to we'd like to see women gather together in groups where they can do craft, and perhaps we can bring people to instruct them and design the things that they could make, and then if they can make enough and so on, we'll find the markets for these things. So if there are women who are particularly talented in our community, we will be able to help them to get a little collective going where we can place orders and things like that for everything from Christmas decorations to table runners, placemats, napkin holders, decorative things that you use in the house. We're prepared to do workshops where we actually teach them how to do these things. And they can get a little group going, which could provide income for them, you know? So the foundation can help in that regard. We also have the ability to help with books and stationery supplies. And one of the reasons I asked you whether you had internet is because a lot of software now for the young children, in order to keep their interest, there are many who use these small little iPad things, and the children find it so remarkable. My little nephew, who's this high, he can operate an iPad and he knows about apps and all these things. And just because it just stimulates their intellect, and they have programs like Baby Einstein and My Baby Can Read, things like that. And those things are basically just pressing on the iPad, but it's so interactive that the children learn very quickly too, you know? So I'm not saying we're not ready to go as high-tech as that, but it's something that you could work towards to get the kids, you know, exposed to something like that, you know. So the foundation has been, since on this particular trip, we looked at the community of Santa Rosa.
I was just in Santa Rosa.
Came
Yeah.
back yesterday. We went yesterday and came back.
And, you know, to see so many people, I mean, up there they have a tremendous amount of problems. And then we looked at another community up at the back by Blaine Hall. And today we're visiting you. So our first tranche of work to do in Guyana for 2013, these are the areas we would like to kind of cover. So Stanley and Eric recommended that we come and talk, because if there's a way we can work together and we can do something, then it would be good. Now, the reason we're videoing a lot of what we're doing is because on the 4th of February, I leave here on Tuesday and go back to abroad, and then I have a meeting on the 4th of February with some of the donors. One of the donors is a Californian huge foundation that does tremendous work in Africa, to, you know, helping people. Another one from Greece, and these are people who have considerable business interests. But what happens to them is that after a certain point, they're taxed so much that they give back to humanity. It's better to give to humanity than to pay the tax man. So they have set up foundations and they're willing to do philanthropic, you know, work with people and so on. So that's the reason we're here, and I wanted to kind of get a wish list from you then to see whether it was possible. You know, if you think through your project carefully, and if we want to work together, what would be like your most urgent needs and requirements. And if you said to us, look, these are some of them, we could evaluate it and say, you know what, we can help you with this one or this one, and you can get a budget to us and we could consider it and try and move ahead. We are awaiting the duty-free status from the government for our light kits. We're hoping to be able to get that before March. Other than that, projects that require things that you don't need a duty-free license for, those projects could move along a lot faster. But, you know, the light kits, we have to wait for them to give us a duty-free whatever.
Is it for free or at the
Free,
cost?
free.
But let us assume you want to sell over there. There are communities that have current, but blackouts.
Okay.
As an emergency something.
Okay.
They will be interested to buy.
We're not into selling. Right?
Into selling,
We want to
okay.
bring relief to people who don't have life.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have to make sure that if we distribute them free, we don't.
They don't get sold.
If they do buy from us, we could consider to put it back into the foundation, but then we can put a price that people will start selling them.
They can look into this thing.
Yeah.
I can see this thing.
It's amazing.
Yes. Just look at it.
Yeah.
Give a little
Yeah.
explanation.
Yeah. And the
This
thing
thing will
about
be a
it,
wonder.
if
Yeah,
it's
you
a
can walk a
single,
mile away from here
You know, if it's a
and turn it
single-
on in another house.
It's probably the only kind in Guyana because the other one charge a battery.
Yeah.
And then the battery deliver the current
see,
to the
this thing here has the battery, the way the German engineering,
The battery
the
inside.
family who pioneered this, the Hahn Foundation, they actually commissioned the German engineers to sit down and figure out a way of helping people in Africa to get something that could change their life. And
Without
so
burning the
what
kids.
they wanted to do was to get light. They wanted to get a way where they could connect to get computers charged and stuff. Well, they haven't gotten that far yet. But this product has been finished, and then they sent it to be manufactured in Spain. So the charger is in here. See?
That's the big way.
So when this gets the energy and it goes back down to this thing here, and you then plug in this.
Yeah, you know what would be a great thing? I think if you guys have a minute at the end is if we could actually, if you could do a walk down, you'd actually see like the houses, like family could take them to your house and show. Because I was asking them who actually here doesn't have electricity in their home. Who doesn't have electricity in their home? Because it's not, there's the whole thing in here. No, it's not that many families. It's always just that 10% or whatever.
They don't have light.
How many homes?
But you see, she has like 3 kids, so there's,
Yeah, but at least the kids
You
can
see the-
study.
oh,
and,
absolutely.
You know, if you
That
want
would
to go
be
to
the
the
thing.
washroom, the toilet at night, you could take the bulb, just take it in your hand like that, and the
Go,
kids.
go to the
The thing is,
library.
the kids can't get burnt because
they will like.
Yeah, we'll take a...
Yeah, I think that would be good. So you
Can't really see anything with this.
If when there's a black powder, then you see the
Yes, how bright it is.
Yeah.
And there are 3 different levels.
Yeah. When it's dark, you can see it.
So well, the only thing is we have junkies coming through here, because we have a junkie and he's stolen our stuff. I don't know about putting a panel right now, though. He in there? Where is he
Central to the groups we're choosing, management infrastructure, which exists here, and we can build off of that. But if you would like to be the one managing the distribution over there, that's fine. But we want to concentrate on one point of
Perhaps persons that are associated with your group
right.
that are
So it'll be
needing
your
help,
outreach,
you know?
or through you outreach.
Yeah.
And as we're coming in, for example, that bridge is shaking. Those are things we would want to look at.
But I think that you could sit down now that at least you've met, you know how the foundation is in the process now of getting all the office in Georgetown set up. We are purposely not, we don't want a high profile something where people driving fancy cars and got to hold the staff, and we don't want to do that at all. We don't want to hold for publicity. Our aim is to get to the communities and get help. The minute you start getting into the whole big public setup, you know, you lose your way.
offer innovative solutions to some of the problems in Guyana. One of them I think is definitely, how do we teach, especially people, adults. It's amazing how many people across Guyana. And luckily I've worked in many areas, hinterland areas, like Gold Coast work. It's amazing how many adults can't read. But there's nothing really targeted that's community-based to help them to. Like the first damage, the first people to go, a lot of the girls here, even the families who you wouldn't expect, they pull their daughters out of school. And in Mandy's case, her dad is a guard, they live on the dam, that's the first house you see is their grandmother. And her dad works as a guard and he takes, how much a month? 7,000 out of his already low salary and keeps his daughter in school, which is really unusual. So she's now in private school and doing better, and we sent her to the Georgetown Public Library, so she had some exposure. And she, and she came up and she runs the library now. So tell me a little bit about the library.
Well, everyone, the children's family come by Thursday and Friday around 4:30.
Okay.
And who don't return books?
They all return.
And what, the books that you have in your library are
All ages.
all ages? Okay.
From small ones to we have an encyclopedia.
So the parents borrow too?
Yeah. And how you find it's going good?
How many books you have?
With a whole lot of little books, little thin books.
400.
That many? That's really amazing.
And they taught you how to catalog it and stuff at the main library.
So you have to have numbers and stuff on them. You have your index library card
Yeah,
and everything.
it's
Yeah, we named it after him. Melvin.
Melvin.
Melvin, if you come now and say your poem, you will get a prize. Melvin, come and say your poem. Probably not. I was hoping that Melvin would become this famous poet. Melvin wrote one amazing.
bush. They used to call it buck summit. I don't know why they call it that. In the bush, I used to plant farm too. And
The food's not edible.
no.
Yeah, you will get indirect sunlight. You still wouldn't see the intensity of the light.
No, but you could have taken a photo.
You gotta be careful, all of you together.
I'm going to listen to you and wait.
Yes, you don't know. You see how many persons here? Look, this post is
And it's going to be like this. And there are 3 different. You see, this is the brightest. This is high, medium, low. Okay?
So you could sleep with the low.
You could sleep with the low during the day, like during the evening, the early part of the evening, you could probably put it to medium. And if you want like the entire place to be lit up, then you put it to high. And when you're ready to sleep, you bring it back down to low.
Yeah, and you charge it back again.
Yeah.
And again, you really don't see that until it's black.
Yeah, you
dark
gotta wait
outside.
when it's like completely, if you have like a dark spot where you could just like for example, open this to me, let me show you. So this is the light. And look in here. You gotta put your head in. You see?
when I was in Epic.
But it's very bright.
That's what about this. And when the man
Let the kid hold it so she can hold it.
You wanna hold it?
Come on, but
Hold the hot part. Hold
Turn
it.
it. Hold here.
You can
Hold
see
here.
there's no heat.
Hold here.
That's
No
why
heat.
Hold
You
it.
see?
Yeah, no heat.
the finance very low.
So if they hold it by mistake, you can't get burned.
And you could drop this.
Look at Auntie Esther.
Look at Auntie Esther.
Drop it, drop it.
You could drop it, drop it on the ground, sweetie. Drop it. Drop it.
No, drop it from the top.
No, just drop it. Drop it.
Then you
You see? And it can't break. You see? It's very safe. It should break.
Yes.
That's the light.
And it charges